It has been 453 days since now 16-year-old Sebastian Rogers vanished from his home in Hendersonville. His disappearance sparked national headlines, but now his father says the case is losing momentum. With National Missing Children's Day coming up on Sunday, he is raising his voice and demanding urgency. News 2's Caitlin.
I went and talked to neighbors, and every single one of them, every single one, welcomed me. And if they had video surveillance, they gave it to me. The only person that would not talk to me, as the only person that had something to hide and wouldn't talk to me. You know, she has a son that's hiding and waiting for somebody in the dark, late night on the 25th, and there needs to be some explaining for that. I'll just leave it at that.
That we are going to keep searching, we are going to keep looking, we are going to find him, and we are going to bring him home.
Since we first aired the video last month, authorities have said no evidentiary value.
It is of no evidentiary value. It is of no evidentiary value.
Can you tell me what those lights are?
No.
Why?
Because the investigation remains ongoing.
Yeah, I'm working on behalf of Sebastian. I am not. My client is Sebastian, and they're the guardians that have the ability to sign.
It just started. Hi, Dad. I know this is gonna sound weird, but tomorrow's picture day. So could you send some decent clothes over to me so that I can wear the decent clothes and be handsome for my birthday with all decent clothes? Mom.
Because our heart is missing. He is my world. I need him. I need him back with me.
Welcome, everybody. Happy Monday. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I hope you guys enjoyed that little intro there. A little snarky Chris coming out. Love The Office, if you guys have never watched that. Such a great show. Anyway, we got so much to go over. And so we'll do a quick recap real quick here while I adjust my screen. Okay, so I am going to do... Actually, no, you know what? I'll go full screen real quick. You guys like that. I appreciate that. Little humor. Again... Lots to go over, more discoveries, more connections to the cemetery and lights. Of course, other potential leads as well. Now, I see some people mentioning that Katie is allegedly on the run. I don't think that's the truth. So please be careful when sharing that kind of information if you don't know it to be as fact. We don't want people getting, spreading misinformation. We tried to be honest on this channel, and when we're speculating, of course, we tried to make that apparent. So I will do just a quick recap, 3 to 4 minutes, if you have not been up to date on what's been going on, and then we'll kind of go into I'm starting to read the reactions. I love The Office, and that is probably one of the best episodes ever. Anyway, a great meme as well. But anyway, all right, let's do the recap real quick. And as always, thank you guys so much for the love and support. Here we go. Here's just a recap. Figure out what was this light, where it was coming from, and how it connected to Roger's disappearance. And what we found will absolutely shock you.
Come down to where I'm sitting right here. So watch this. Of course, when my light's off, you can't see anything. If I turn my lights on, I can see just graves and grass. But imagine for a moment that somebody was there and said, hey, I can't see. Turn your high beams on. Of course, it opens up the whole area. I see more. And what do I see? The monument. And they're telling me they can see it on the camera, just like the footage we've been looking at. Boom!
Sebastian Rogers was last physically seen on camera leaving the Texas Roadhouse with his mother Katie Proudfoot on Feb 25th. Whether he actually made it home that night is highly debated, but what I have recently discovered on surveillance from a nearby camera in Rogers' neighborhood could hold the answers to what may have happened to Sebastian Rogers. Sebastian Rogers' home is located here. The surveillance camera that captured the suspicious activity is located approximately here, with 2 cameras pointed towards the east, overlooking the construction site and further. The suspicious activity seen on these cameras took place here at this cemetery and also school. Just after this suspicious light illuminates for approximately 6 minutes, a little before 3:30 a.m. At 3:32, a headlight of a vehicle can be seen moving south in the cemetery. This would not be the only vehicle seen that night. Another vehicle is seen at 3:45, and just 4 minutes later, another headlight is seen at 3:49. Although there is 2 cameras that overlook the entrance to the church and cemetery, as of now, there is no sign of these vehicles seen, entering or exiting, the only main entrance to the south. On the night Sebastian Rogers disappeared, the suspicious light can be seen again at around 3:40 a.m. It is illuminated for around 6 minutes, just like on the 25th. Then after it's done being illuminated, minutes later, multiple vehicles can be seen, driving in the cemetery and at the school. Once again, more suspicious activity the night Rogers went missing. So what is the object that is being illuminated for around 6 minutes on the 25th and 26th, and how could it be connected to Sebastian Rogers' disappearance? Here is a daytime shot from the surveillance camera where you can see the construction site. It is also overlaid with the nighttime shot of the suspicious light source. You can see how the suspicious light is just beyond the construction site in the cemetery. As Silver's on the scene, drives through the cemetery, you can see that the construction site is to his left. As he continues north, he is now in the middle of the cemetery, approaching a loop. As he turns right, you will notice what they call lumbry. This object is made out of highly reflective material, like concrete, granite, and marble. This memorial also sits at a slight tilt when viewing from the east, just like the object seen in the surveillance footage. Notice both objects are rectangular in shape. As you can see here, this memorial has no artificial lighting, not in the front or the back, so whatever caused this to be illuminated at 3 a.m. on the 25th and 26th had to have come from another light source, but what? The obvious answer would be headlights from a vehicle, but what we discovered about this answer would prove to be quite disturbing and shocking. Okay, so there's a little bit more to go over, but I think I did this. Why is it doing that? Work with me here. There we go. Okay, I want to pause it there just so I can get caught up so I don't get behind on these. As always, I know I've said this before, but thank you guys so much for the love and support. We need to stay as a team, not go after each other. This is about Sebastian, finding answers. There's so many theories out there, and I'm sure we don't agree on, every certain scenario, who might have been involved. But I think the bigger picture is Sebastian. We need to come together, not get tunnel vision, and all that. But I just want to quickly get caught up before I get behind. Jazz, thank you so much for the $10 super chat. God bless you. Fly Girl, 20 months supporting this channel, says Happy New Year, Chris. Thank you. Happy New Year to you, sweetheart. We've got I'm just gonna see BLJ. It's it's really hard to see. I'm sorry, but thank you so much for the $5 super chat. Kitty Hawk, thank you so much for the continued membership. Kiki, good to see you. Thanks for your hard work. Thank you. I know a lot of people email me trying to help me out. I try to respond as much as I can. Thank you, Kiki. Rachel, thank you for your dedication, commitment. Same time, take care of you. Van mileage, check emails, laugh out loud. Boom, boom, Sebastian. Yeah, there's definitely a lot of different leads. Again, there's the one that I'm looking into, and of course, there's other people looking into other scenarios. And there are some really promising leads out there, which is amazing. So we're covering all bases, and that's what we need to do is come together as a community, and support each other. Sparky, thank you so much for the $1.99. God bless you. Rachel says, to the mods and crew, they're to simmer the ruckus, stay true, no hidden agenda, treat members humanely, but no time for BS. Thank you, Sebastian Rogers. We all say and salute to you. Well said, Rachel. Thank you so much. And Little Miss Sharon, thank you so much for the $5 super chat. Thank you guys so much. I apologize for kind of rushing through that, but I want to make sure we get into the new stuff that I discovered. But anyway, here is something I put out, kind of a different view where you can actually see the Columbium during the daytime. I showed this for the first time Saturday. There's a daytime shot as we kind of zoom in here. And the Columbium, and you're going to see a picture here in a second, the Columbium is much taller than I originally thought. I don't know the exact dimensions, but I would say at least over 10 feet tall. Maybe 3 to 4 feet wide. But as you can see there, as I do a daytime to overtime night overlay there, you can actually see it. You can actually almost see it because from this angle, we would kind of see it not directly side face, but just a little bit to the angle where we'd see a little bit of the face of it. And you can see it, sometimes the pixels kind of catch it, and you can see the black next to the square side, rectangular side, excuse me. And you can tell that is on the horizon of the construction zone there. But thank you for Bugsby for sending these in. That again, I knew it was fairly tall, but I now seeing this definitely makes a lot more sense as why we see this from so far away, because this little memorial Columbium is pretty big, and then obviously from what it's made out of, is very highly reflective with marble, granite, concrete, and so on. But these photos are when they went out and searched this pond. I believe they searched all the ponds. I get that asked a lot. As far as draining, the only one I know of, and this is just still even rumor, is the square one, which would be this one, because there is technically 3 of them. This is the one Max went into. I've shown a video in a live about a month ago, before I found all the cemetery stuff, and I was following Max, and you can see him go. The video from the line of sight kind of cuts off about here, but you can see him heading right for this one here. Now, believe the word is they drained this one, but I think they've only searched this one, and this one is the one where the photos were taken that we just saw. Yeah, Susan, and we will get into that. I've got some new video of the back entrance. We will definitely have to great comment. And
scene here is another.
Here's just a little bit more of the recap, and then of course we'll start talking about the new new lights that we've discovered.
Another daytime shot, overlaid with nighttime, where you can see the memorial to the right, and in the yellow box is where we see headlights from a vehicle. But what's interesting is the fact that the vehicle seen at 3:45 a.m. has its headlights facing west on a part of the road that goes north and south. Also, this vehicle appears to be in the middle of the loop on the west end of the cemetery in this location. Shown here is the exact location the headlights were seen. Notice how the road isn't very wide. I also figured out that the headlights captured at 3:45 and 3:49 a.m. are at two different heights seen here. Notice when putting a static line in same spot, one light is higher up than the other one, meaning there were at least two different vehicles driving around the cemetery on the night before Sebastian Rogers disappeared on the 25th. So what were they doing, and how did the memorial site light up?
I think that's a good question, Rachel, and I'll try to address that here in a little bit.
There it is. What do you see now?
During the control tests, Silvers on the scene and others tried many different things to illuminate the memorial in the same way we saw it on surveillance. But every test, including driving next
and
to
thank you, user,
mirror,
for
headlights and other
becoming a
features
member.
such as flashlights, just would not create that same illumination effect until on day 2, Silvers on the scene did this.
Okay, to document where I'm at, come in the cemetery this way, go around, it loops around. I took the turn right here and
During Silver's control test, he parked on the west end, in the middle of the loop, seen here on this map. He had turned his car towards the memorial. When doing this, he figured he would try and turn on his high beams, as nothing so far had worked up to this point. Upon doing this, he illuminated the memorial just as it was seen in the surveillance. Here was his reaction.
Okay, to document where I'm at, come in the cemetery this way, go around, it loops around. I took the turn right here and I've come down to where I'm sitting right here. So watch this. Of course, when my light's off, you can't see anything. If I turn my lights on, I can see just graves and grass. But imagine for a moment that somebody was there and said, hey, I can't see. Turn your high beams on. Of course, it opens up the whole area. I see more. And what do I see? The monument. And they're telling me they can see it on the camera, just like the footage we've been.
Now, if anybody is kind of newer and wondering what's going on in this test, I have explained it before a little bit, but again, we had two teams. We had Silvers and Silvers 2 and some others, and then another group in the new development in this location. Let me just kind of... So Silvers is sitting here. Now, obviously, because of new development, the homes are now... Well, this is not even accurate. There's a bunch of homes here now. So to be able to, let's say if Silvers wanted to do recreation and we go grab the footage from that same camera, it wouldn't work because now we have all these homes up here that block the view. So they had to get up closer to be able to do this. I'm not going to say exactly where they did it, but in doing so, again, it took 2 nights. And on that second night, with the team positioned around in here, looking this way, and Silver's doing a bunch of things, driving around, and then finally when he did his high beam, it lit up the Columbrium in the way that we would see it on surveillance. And we've kind of played the reaction of them as well.
Looking at it. Boom.
And this area obviously is very important, as I explained here in the video. after I play this, we'll get to the new stuff.
Silvers is sitting at is the same spot where the two vehicles seen on the 25th were.
And I'll get to your question, Rachel, and I'm not sure if it's the same Rachel, but whoever sent me the, I don't know why on this phone I can't tell if it's a PayPal or Venmo, but thank you so much for the donation, Rachel. God bless you. And I will address your question here in just a minute.
Are exactly positioned. And what's even more crazy is the fact that one of the vehicles at 3:45 a.m. appeared to have come out of the gravesite in that same spot Silvers was parked, as if they had been backed in, then pulled out and turned south.
Okay, so so this is one of the things that I discovered recently that I showed on Saturday. Now, this is important to what I found yesterday. Just like how we've kind of discovered, each time I've discovered stuff, it all connects, right? To me, it's just more and more putting those pieces together, and they're starting to fit here. And eventually, hopefully, we can get kind of a picture or an idea of kind of what's going on. But actually, before I get into that, let me address this, and then we'll get into that. Rachel was wondering, if you walked from Sebastian's home to that, if we were to just go straight line, and if we just did feet, that's 1,800 feet. If we did yards, that's just over 600 yards. Oh, you can't see that other part here, maybe. There you go. That's about 600 yards, so that's just over 6 football fields away if he took a straight line. But in my opinion, I think it's nearly impossible that he went on foot. If he made it over there, it was not by his own design. He was placed over there. Possibly. I'm not saying he was. It's just a possibility. But, and then obviously, if you were to go up the streets and come and cut around or something, obviously, then that would be more, and I think it's about a quarter. One more measurement here. I think it's about a quarter mile. If we do miles. Okay, just a little over 0.37 miles. So a little over a quarter mile in a straight line. But obviously, if just say a scenario, if you were walking to that would probably be more like half a mile. If you were going to go up and cut over or something like that. I mean, it's not that far. 6 football fields. Sounds like a lot, but with all things considering, it really isn't. So yeah. Okay, so the first thing, the new discovery that I found on Friday that I showed Saturday, this is the 25th. So this is very important. This is the 25th, and I understand you're probably like, I don't know what I'm looking at. No worries. I will show you guys where this is located. This is on the 25th, and the time of this is very important. Now, this is, again, the discovery that I found a couple of days ago. I will show you the new discovery here in just a minute. But as you can see, it's going to start up at exactly 3:24, almost right on the dot. Now, right now, I don't know exactly what this light is. I do. It's kind of funny. I just had a theory pop into my head before the show, and we'll kind of discuss it. But it illuminates for 2 minutes, almost exactly, and disappears. And now this is the night before he went missing. Yeah, barefoot. even socks. Yeah, there's just no way. In my opinion. So it's very interesting. It's almost 2 minutes exactly. And the location and the timing of this is where it gets very fascinating. So here's a daytime to nighttime to kind of give you an idea. Now, when I first saw this, this is something I had seen before, and brushed it off because I thought it was just like a home turning on their lights and then kicking it off. But then the more I looked at it, I realized that there's no homes in that area. And I'll show you why here in just a second, and a couple of ways I figured out that those are not, there's no homes in that direction. So here's a nighttime to daytime overlay, and I do another one as well, but that's going to be where it's at. And the spot is very interesting because it appears to be near what I call the triangle retention pond. Not the square one, but the triangular one. But it looks like it's just beyond that where the cemetery is, as you're going to see here. And a couple of ways I figured out where this was at approximately was taking the angle of this home here, because we can see these two homes in the surveillance, and we just take the, the direction, the azimuth of the back of the home, and then we just draw a straight line, and we know that it is to the left of that. And you'll see an overlay here, just like this. So we can see this home and then this home here. They kind of, from our view, they're kind of smushed together, but we can see that's, there's the first home here and then that second home, and we can kind of see the angle. It actually almost would be a little bit more this way, this line that I have here, but either way, it still puts us around just beyond, in my opinion, that triangle retention pond, which makes it very, very interesting. And then if you see where the columbrium is at, compared to where this light source is at, it's not very far. And Joel, thank you so much for the PayPal. God bless you. I appreciate the support. It's possible we may need it for potentially independent stuff. I don't know. Unless law enforcement, can take over. We're really hoping, we're sending things to them. I wouldn't say daily, but any new things that I find, the first thing I do is I build a video, I send it to my contact, and then they send it over. We're trying to do this the right way, and hopefully, they take over. But if that doesn't happen, then, then we move on. We've got so many more plans. But here's another look. And you're actually going to see this road here. You're going to see this vehicle drive by. This kind of gives you also an idea of so you can see this vehicle. This is the construction, right? And that vehicle is literally on... And I meant to pull this up here. And I promise you, if you've seen this on Saturday, I promise you this is very important, because this will lead into what I discovered yesterday. But that vehicle is really driving up what would now be, let me just kind of back it up a little bit. would be Willow Bend right here. Obviously let me zoom back in and get the angle right. Obviously the road was starting to, they had the blueprint of kind of where the roads were going to be. But that is where that vehicle is driving right there. And so that pond is directly about in this approximate area here. And then when I overlay that light, you're going to see that it is directly above it. Katie, what are you doing? Hey, you got your window up. Katie, come back. I don't know. I tried. So anyway, as you can see, there's that. And as I go to overlay, notice that vehicle, the road would have been right there. And so that tells us, you can see the difference. Too bad I don't have it back just a little bit more. So that tells me that pond's about right here. And then that thing is likely sitting somewhere in this area. You can kind of see how the border of the cemetery kind of, cuts in a little bit to the east. But again, not far from the columbrium. So very interesting. Sorry, add a little humor. Again, just lighten the mood a little. But this is very important because this will line up with what I discovered yesterday. So once again, it is somewhere in this area right here. And that columbrium, from this point of view, is, you can kind of see where it cuts in, the cemetery here. But again, that light is somewhere, I'd actually kind of say it's more to the left of this rectangle. And that columbrium is just about, obviously just beyond the area here. But the reason I bring that up is because and we can see the road as well when I overlay the 26th and the 25th light where they're at. I know it's a little hard to see because there's trees. But we can see where the road is at, the cemetery road. There's the car right here, I think. It's easier when you're doing it fast forward. You can kind of see that light go through. But that is just kind of where it's at. But this is important. And again, I know I keep repeating this out because what I discovered for the 26th, because remember, this is the 25th. Now, the other thing that's very important about this is this right here, if you missed it. Is it possible that the light is from a vehicle sitting at the Y on the cemetery loop? That is such a great question, KB, because, well, I'll get back to that. There's such a great question. Oh my gosh, such a great question, and I think you could be onto something. RKB, thank you so much for gifting a Mob Crew membership. That is so awesome. If anybody gets gifted a membership, if they could thank that person. Cooper, oh, there you are. Now you're a member. Over 12 months being a member. Hopefully you got your stuff figured out. I know you had some issues. Buds Girl, thank you so much for the $1.99. sometimes things pop up, and then sometimes they don't. So I apologize if I miss anything. Peggy, thanks, Chris, for all of your work you do. Thank you, Peggy, so much. Robin says, thank you for your love and unwavering dedication to Sebastian. Thank you so much. And I think I got Miss Sharon. I think I did, but thank you, Miss Sharon. Okay. But before we get to the new thing, the reason why this discovery, in my opinion, is super huge is because look at the time. Let me move this over just a little bit. But look at the time of these two events right here. So on the left is that new light source I discovered that's kind of around in the cemetery, but around that pond, the triangle pond. And on the right is the Columbrium. And of course, this is all on the 25th, the night before he went missing. But look at the times. They are pretty much lined up. They're not lined up down to the millisecond, but they're pretty spot on. And what are the odds? And I mean, what are the odds that as the light near the pond at 3:24 begins to light up, at the same time the Columbrium light starts to really officially stay consistently lit up by 3:24, which lasts till about 3:29. So very interesting. And again, they're only 300 approximately 300 feet away from each other. And I like KV's idea. Because the light source, when you look at it, it's kind of got this rectangular. It doesn't kind of quite really match the vehicles that we see. They're more, the headlights are more round. Not to say it couldn't have been distorted a little bit, and it could be one headlight just sitting there angled or side faced. That's still definitely a possibility. But I do think there's something else it could be that kind of popped into my head earlier today. But yeah, what are the odds that they both light up at the same time? That is just so. Again, just more things that just keep connecting. Helping to unleash Snarky Chris. Thank you, Sassy. And thank you, Sassy, for the amazing support, modding, and stuff like that. And of course, to all my wonderful mods. God bless you, ladies. So there's that. And I'm going to take a sip. And we're going to get into the new stuff here in just a second. But it connects to what I found here. So before I get in, show the new thing, I'm going to play what we found on the 26th, because what I found yesterday adds into this towards the end of what happens on the 26th. So let me just play this full screen real quick, guys. This is just 2 minutes tops about the 26th. And, believe me, you're going to get some Snarky Chris here in just a little bit. It's coming, whether we reach the goal or not. And I really appreciate you guys. You'll get them here in just a minute. But let me go full screen for a second. Hit that like button. Promise you guys, when you see all this, it's all coming together. Everything just keeps coming into place here. And eventually, we'll have I don't know if we'll be able to figure everything out, but I think we can start to really put some decent theories together on what they may or may not be doing out there. So, all right, quickly, the 26th, because again, what I found is on the 26th.
Before we put all the pieces together, let's go over the night of the 26th. Sometime around 3:10 a.m., the suspicious flashlights in Rogers' neighborhood are seen along with an unknown vehicle doing a three-point turn. Not long after, activity at the cemetery begins to happen, where we see the memorial light up again for 6 minutes. During this same time, we then see a vehicle at the school near the stadium, first heading north at 3:47 a.m., near the same time the memorial is just beginning to fade out, seen here in this overhead view. A few moments later, we then see that same vehicle head south at 3:49, just minutes after the memorial is no longer illuminated. Then literally 2 minutes later, we see another vehicle heading south, leaving the cemetery at 3:51. We first see this vehicle in the cemetery located here in this overhead view. Then a few moments later, we can see it exiting the church parking lot at 3:53 a.m. This vehicle was seen on 2 different cameras exiting the church and cemetery. Keep in mind, this is the only time we have seen a vehicle enter or exit the church and cemetery around this time frame on 25th and 26th. Now, what are the chances that 2 different vehicles would be seen exiting the cemetery and school 2 minutes apart at around 4 a.m. in the morning the night Sebastian Rogers disappeared?
Okay, so that's just a little recap on what we have going on the 26th, the night he went missing. And here is me overlaying the new discovery from the 25th there. Which I think we could fast forward here. Okay, so one of the things that I did on Saturday is I kind of wanted to go do like an overhead view of everything that we see on the 25th. I forgot I added this in just to kind of toss some theories around. I'm going to let this play for a second. But this is kind of what we see going on, within 8 minutes.
So how do these puzzle
25th? I mean, that's a lot of activity.
Puzzle pieces all fit together? First, then a vehicle parks in the same area, but this time backs up, into the gravesite, perhaps to haul some dirt or something else nefarious. Then when pulling forward to turn south, we see 2 headlights. Unlike the other lights we see, it's clear there is 2 balls of light, meaning this vehicle is likely facing west, in an area it shouldn't be unless it was backed in. This vehicle then goes south around the loop.
Excuse me, I'm choking. He's coming here in just a minute. Excuse me. But yeah, all this activity on the 25th that we can see, clearly some of this activity has to have been gone on the 26th as well. I just don't think, obviously we only have these small little windows that we can see from so far away. And then of course the other discovery for the 25th was seeing that there was a vehicle at the school on the 25th, which again was something, in my opinion, very huge, showing that, in my opinion, there was a scout watching this, because you can see it's 3:47, and that happens exactly, once again, just like, so think about how we have that light at the near the retention pond, and we have the columbrium light up, and they start up at the same time, right? And then on that same night, after the columbrium's done being lit up, then at the school we see a vehicle, And it sits there for, guess what? 2 minutes. And you're going to find, if you haven't, obviously, if you've been following this channel, and this, what's going on in that cemetery and school, there's something going on with this 2-minute window that we keep seeing. So there's a vehicle at the school, and what's so fascinating is that it appears at 3:45, and at the same time, that is when a vehicle, the one that appears to be coming out of the cemetery, heading west and then turning south, where it should just either be going north or south, and those two are happening at the same time, and that vehicle at the school, while this is going on, is sitting there for about 2 minutes and then goes away. And that is just so, again, is that just some weird coincidence? Or is this kind of a dry run? Or were they getting ready for something? So many different scenarios could have happened. So we've kind of touched on that. We also touched on how I told you guys we did a static line, and we figured out that there's at least 2 different vehicles on the 25th due to the height of the lights. One appears to be maybe a car, and the other one maybe a truck. But that's certainly a lot of activity to be going on the 25th, and this is what it would be kind of looking like. Apologize, that car did not go where I wanted it to, but all that just in a 4-minute time span. And then at 3:47 we have a truck or something to that effect, another vehicle. Definitely 2 vehicles in the cemetery on the 25th, while there was in my opinion, some kind of scout at the school. So all that activity on one night, and who knows what I'll find tomorrow. It just seems like every time I find something, there's more and more stuff, right? And I do think there is more to find. And I know people are trying to help me and send me stuff. And believe me, when I get time, I do look at it. I just cannot get to everybody. Caroline. Oh, do I think 4 people involved? I think at the very least 3 people, in my opinion. 3 people for sure. I mean, 3 vehicles, at least 3 people. Are there, passengers? Definitely possible.
During the control test, Silver's on the scene.
So, we've gone over the control test.
Where we see the memorial light up.
All right, now we're gonna add in the new discovery. Sorry, I added a little bit more than I realized.
Sometime around 3:10 a.m., the suspicious flashlights in Rogers' neighborhood are seen along with an unknown vehicle doing a 3-point turn. Not long after, activity at the cemetery begins to happen, where we see the memorial light up again for 6 minutes. During this same time, we then see a vehicle at the school near the stadium, first heading north at 3:47 a.m., near the same time the memorial is just beginning to fade out, seen here in this overhead view. A few moments later, we then see that same vehicle head south at 3:49, just minutes after the memorial is no longer illuminated. Then literally 2 minutes later, we see another vehicle heading south, leaving the cemetery at 3:51. We first see this vehicle in the cemetery located here in this overhead view. Then a few moments later, we can see it exiting the church parking lot at 3:53 a.m.
Thank you, Fundiski. Oh, that is so awesome. You guys are the best. Lisa. I appreciate that.
This
That
vehicle
means a
was
lot
seen
to
on
me. I don't want to get too much into it, but I want to find Sebastian. I'm not looking to cover for my clients, right? And make up nonsense and stir up shit. I can only imagine what's going to be coming. And believe me, we're going to talk about fish sticks because we know he's coming. And I'll bring up some ideas or some thoughts of mine that I think you guys will find interesting. But anyway, as I know I've been leading up to this, here's the new discovery here in just a second. But it falls into the line of what's going on here. So obviously, on the 26th, Columbium lights up from 344 to 309, 350. Wait, man, so many. Now I've got so many times in my head. 343 to 349 about. And then, of course, we have
First see this vehicle.
a vehicle entering and exiting in the school. And then
Visiting the church and
clearly,
cemetery.
for the very first time and only time we've seen so far, a vehicle leaving the cemetery through the church entrance.
We have seen a vehicle enter or exit the church and cemetery around this time frame on 25th and 26th.
Now, this will lead into the new discovery.
Now, what are the chances that two different vehicles would be seen exiting the cemetery and school 2 minutes apart at around 4 a.m. in the morning the night Sebastian Rogers disappeared?
No, Debbie, the 26th is the night he went missing. The 25th is the night before he went missing. The 26th is the night he went missing. Just in case if you're confused about the dates. And I understand if that may be a misunderstanding. But no, the 26th is the 25th at night he came home, allegedly. That's up for debate. And then sometime early morning the 26th, between midnight and 6 a.m. on the 26th is allegedly when he went missing. So that's why when you see the 26th, that this is in the early morning hours. So hopefully that answers that question. And I know so many have questions, and I'm trying to multitask. And again, I can't get to everybody, especially when I have nearly 1,000 people in chat. All right, so here's the latest discovery. Here it is. So, as you can see, first I'm showing you the 25th, the night before, the one where the light near the pond, in the cemetery, in my opinion. And I'm just showing this light real quick here. Again, it's lit up for 2 minutes. And very suspiciously, it lights up just as the Columbium lights up on the night before he went missing. Then I discovered yesterday that same light appears on the 26th, the night he went missing. And so here we are. Here is the new discovery. As you can see, the 26th at 3:54. It's going to start at about 3:55 and 30 seconds. It is in the same exact area. And you're going to see here in just a minute, it's going to illuminate. And this is in the, as far as I know, the pretty much the exact same spot. So with KV's question from earlier about I forget the exact question, but I know it was a good question. It kind of leads into what I was thinking earlier today about what it could be, because it doesn't move like we do with the cars. It acts more like the Columbrium in a way, where it's like it's almost something being reflected off of, as if there's another light source and it's being reflected. But what's interesting is, guess what? It's left on for 2 minutes and then it goes away. It starts at about 3:55 and 30 seconds. And at 3:57 and about 30 seconds, it dissipates. Almost 2 minutes exactly. So we have 2 nights in a row, same thing, lighten up for 2 minutes. Just like how we have the Columbrium on the night before and the night of, where it's lit up for 6 minutes almost exactly. So, again, what are the odds? And more importantly, what is it? And how can we connect it all together? So I have some theories. Yes, you're very right, Lisa. Very 100%. Again, until I can have a good explanation, I'm gonna just say it's an anomaly. Don't think it's a vehicle in itself, but yeah, we definitely need to come up and theorize about what it could be. Yeah, somebody emailed me that something about 2 minutes when it comes to military time. Yeah, could that be a part of it? That's very interesting. So anyway, once again, here's a zoomed in portion of it. Same exact spot. Appears to be kind of rectangular. Not like the headlights that we see, which are more circular. But definitely in the same spot as the 25th. And like I said before, the 2 minutes. Now, I know a lot of people are probably seeing these lights flicker like crazy. And believe me, it drives me nuts because I keep thinking, oh my God, there's something else. There's something else. But please take that with a huge grain of salt because that happens a lot. Not to say there couldn't be something there, but just don't get too excited about these lights flickering until we can find out more. Because as you can see, they're going off like crazy. I really think part of that is the trees are just kind of fluctuating in front of them and causing them to flicker off and on. But this is definitely something, when you only see it, when you look through like 5 hours worth of footage and you only see it pop up once, whereas like all these lights, street lights, maybe house lights or whatever lights, they're on, right? They're on the entire night. So, I kind of get used to what's normal. And then I look for, obviously, the anomalies. Two-minute drill for the Navy is on the football field. Ironic. Yeah, KV. Sure. Especially, I've been meaning one of these lives, I'll show you guys the 27th and the 28th when there was this, storm and there was a lot of wind. These lights go off. They're flickering like crazy on 27 and 28. Okay. So now let's piece this together. And so I want to show you guys, and you guys going to get, oh, we hit it. Oh, and this is perfect timing, guys. This is absolutely perfect timing. We hit the goal. Snarky Chris is coming out to play. Rachel, oh my gosh, I think it doubled up your thing. I don't know why it does that. I can't tell if they're all donations or what. Kara says, snark, snark, snark. Thank you, Kara. Thank you so much. Deanna, thank you, Chris, for your incredible work. You are definitely one of the good guys. I think is what you're tried to say, but it kind of got garbled. You're definitely one of the good guys. I think is what you're trying to say. Thank you, Deanna. God bless you. Sensei, let that rampage of snark commence. Well, guys, you are on it. Oh my gosh, Lisa, unleashed the snark. Release the Kraken. Lisa, be always, again, unleash the snark. Fitz says, unleash the snark. Oh my gosh, you guys are awesome. Well, it's coming. It is literally less than minutes around the corner. Rachel, I can't tell if you donated like 5 times or if it just doubled up, but thank you, Rachel, so much for the donations. Again, I don't know, sometimes it doubles them up, and I can't tell if they're one or, but thank you, Rachel. God bless you. Michelle says, thank you, Chris, for your hard work and dedication. You are appreciated. To all those responsible. Hold on, it's coming. Well said, Michelle. Well said. And thank you. Shadow, I know it's not much. Appreciate all you're doing. Believe me, I understand, especially after the holidays. I appreciate it. You guys just being here means the world. Lori says, you are great. Thank you so much, Lori. And we just got Barker with a $2 super chat. Thank you, Barker. All right, guys. I'm going to go back, but thank you so much. I'll try to catch up, but all right. Snarky Chris is coming out. Here we go. Before we do that, real quick, here's just another overlay because I had to send this over to a certain law enforcement agency, and I wanted to make sure they really understood where this was at. So here's one more overlay of that light and where it is approximately. And okay, it is playing. So one more time, this is just a different overlay of the 26 from a daytime perspective here. Oh, I appreciate that, Dammy. Appreciate that. All right, but there is another overlay, and we'll look at the bigger picture here in just a minute and see what you guys think. But here, yeah, as it switches back to daytime. Again, same spot. Remember that car drives right here, and then if I were to overlay the car that went through the church, it would go right above it. So again, with all that info, we know the car kind of goes up here on the construction, and then actually if I do it this way, see it a little bit better. Unfortunately, it doesn't have the hill like it should, but we can kind of see, notice how it gradually goes up. Obviously that light is right here. So anyway, Nutter, keep up the great work, Chris. Love your videos. Thank you so much, Nutter. That means so much. You guys are very sweet. I mean, it's possible he could be there again. Keep all options open, but again, you don't want to get tunnel vision. He could be very close. And yeah, once again, here's just me showing how to kind of figure out where the light is coming from. Which again, this is kind of also made for the contact for law enforcement. So anyway, let's get to some snarky Chris. So, and here's one more overlaid zoomed in of the 26. I forgot I added this in. Try to give as much info as I can for you guys. But there's that car. That's the construction during the daytime and the light. And that pond is right there. Anyway, okay. All right. So a little snarky Chris. Here we go. Okay. Katie, what are you doing with your window up? Katie, come back. Katie, come back. Katie, oh, hey, Katie, again. Seen somewhere else. Katie, what are you doing? What's your window up? We got eyes on you, Katie. We're watching. Now, I'm not encouraging anybody to follow these people. Please do not do that. We're better than that. This photo came just by accident. I'm not going to explain the details. They just, yes. Again, they just happened to be at a certain spot, and there was Katie. Looks like she's enjoying a little soda there. Perhaps her and Crispy were out shopping, potentially. And it looks like Chris. Oh, wait, hold on. I should have slowed that down a little bit. Hold on. Katie, windows up. Katie. Anyway. And then Crispy, hey, your window's up. Chris, hey. Man, I don't know. You look like you're still wearing the same outfit you were in the interview. It's at hard times right now. But anyway, just having a little bit of fun, having a little snarky. We'll get back to the big stuff. But from what I understand, allegedly, Crispy was out and about. He was seen. Apparently, allegedly, of course, he was in a big rush to pick up something. And from what I understand, he was out to pick up ninjamas, nighttime underwear. You know, because apparently children become, I guess if they wear those, they become invisible when you wear your ninjamas. Or maybe they're for him. I don't know. They'll probably need some eventually, but in my opinion. But anyway, allegedly, this is just a big rumor. Take it with a huge grain of salt. From what I understand, he was out shopping for some ninjamas. One store didn't have them, so he had to go run to another one. But, you know, yeah, they were out of Depends, and he found the ninjamas. So there he is, Crispy, on his way. Crispy, you got your window up, Crispy. Hey, Crispy. Anyway, he's off to get the ninjamas. Because they turn you into a ninja. And you can go invincible. Anyway, all right. So you got a little snarky Chris there. Boy, that was perfect timing. You guys hit that goal. Perfect timing. Anyway, I thought I'd throw that in. But back to seriousness, because again, this is about Sebastian, of course. But we like to have a little bit of fun. It's definitely gonna need some Depends. Something. I don't know. He might need the ninjamas, to be honest with you. You know. Anyway, back to the light source because it is really important here. And we're going to explain why. We're going to put this all together here. So again, these lights are lit up, and as you can see here, side by side, you know, they look pretty much identical. So it reminds me of the columbrium. So to me, my best guess right now is this is something possibly being reflected, kind of like the columbrium. Again, I don't know for sure, but and I'll kind of explain where this may be happening, which may be right by where the loop is. I'll show you guys in the overhead view here in just a minute. Yes, so I don't want to get too much into it, but yes, what you just saw was sent over to me, and apparently they were allegedly at the cemetery on New Year's Eve. Now we do, again, everybody's, we're all adults here, and I can't control everybody, right? I'm not the police. I would just say, please be careful, and I would suggest not going out to the cemetery right now while we wait for law enforcement to hopefully do the right thing. And we don't want any potential evidence out there being contaminated. I know most people are just trying to help, but I would just say please be careful. But anyway, in a long story short, if you haven't seen it in a post, allegedly, and it seems pretty legit that they were at the cemetery, then they left. They were headed towards Gallatin and noticed that Crispy was behind them in Katie's car, and followed them for, I'm not sure how far, a mile or I think it's 20 minutes from where they were headed. But anyway, they're allegedly followed. I'm going to say allegedly because I don't know 100%. But it is kind of strange timing that they went to the cemetery and then there's Crispy, behind them. So it's possible that maybe they're, trying to scare people. Again, this is only speculation. We don't know 100%. I would just say, locals keep an eye out, for any suspicious activity. And of course, report anything that, you would think would be significant. You wouldn't follow me. I got big guy. Oh yeah, yeah. He'd probably Crispy would probably be intimidated. Little man syndrome, and now he's stuck in that little baby blue infinity.
Before we put all the pieces together, let's go over the.
That allegedly happened on New Year's Eve, and that was allegedly turned over to law enforcement. That statement. I'm not 100%, but if I had to guess,
night of the 26th,
it was likely sent over. So let's talk about the 26th, and let's add in what I discovered with that light on the 26th, and kind of come up with an idea and see what you guys think as well. And then we're gonna address, because guess who's coming out on the 22nd? Good old Fish Sticks. He's coming back. No surprise there. And I have a few theories. I'm sure you guys do as well. And we'll definitely talk about them. Karina says, my snarky comment is that KP reminds me of a slug you see, those big ones in Alaska. Oh, I've never been out to Alaska. I don't know. I have to look one of those slugs up. That sounds disturbing. Yeah, Fish Sticks is coming back. Oh yeah, no surprise. And I'm gonna blow a few minds on why they have to have him. Probably for multiple reasons, but anyway, let's put all of this together, right, with what I've just discovered.
Leaving the cemetery at 3:51, we first see this vehicle in the cemetery located here in this overhead view. Then a few moments later, we can see it exiting the church parking lot at 3:53 a.m.
Okay. So let's look at.
I was able to hear the cemetery. The vehicle not block the street light at further away. Transport
Actually, we make a pretty good time.
I believe this parallel to each other.
Okay. All right. Sorry, I'm trying to find it here. Almost there. We'll come back to this. Okay. Oh, I should have added this in. Here's a wonderful person who, and I'm not going to say who, but this is a recent picture of the gate. And yes, as someone has mentioned before, it does appear that you could get in through this little gap here. I mean, it's supposed to have, because you can tell there's posts, so it's supposed to have like barbed wire, a couple of lines of barbed wire, but I don't know if that's been taken down or what. But yeah, it's wouldn't be hard to get through via Ward Lane, which is where we believe a lot of these vehicles came from. So let's put the night of the 26th together. Never mind the fact of what happened at his neighborhood, right? But let's just look at all of the pieces on an overhead view and see what you guys think. So from 343 to 349, we have the Columbrium light up. Now, obviously, that means there's at least one vehicle in there, right? There's no other thing that be able to. Obviously, it's being lit up by some kind of light source. So we have at least one vehicle in there. Actually, we know there's one vehicle in there because there's a vehicle that leaves. But there's one vehicle that is in there that lights that up. But before that ends, 2 minutes before this fades out, we have a vehicle at the school. Now, I don't know which vehicles or trucks or cars or whatever. I'm just putting different vehicles that way you can understand that there's different vehicles. I do not know if this vehicle at 347 is a truck or not. But it is at the school and it's by the stadium, and it arrives at 347, 2 minutes before the Columbrium is going to fade out. So it does make me wonder, did they scout or did they trade off something? Was there another vehicle over here and they traded out, or moved Sebastian or what have you, or Sebastian's already in there, or maybe even evidence, right? It doesn't even have to be Sebastian. It could be evidence that they got rid of, right? Then, just as the Columbrium dissipates, right at 349, that vehicle at the school then leaves. Now, what is the odds, the timing of that we have a vehicle now leaving right after that Columbrium is now no longer illuminated? We see that leave at 349. Then, and it's all little 2-minute time frames. It's going to be just a common factor. And there's one thing that I wanted to correct, that I was wrong. Not 100% wrong, but I thought this vehicle was further up, but apparently this vehicle is actually much closer, and I'll tell you exactly how I know here in just a second. I think it needs to be investigated by all agencies. I 100% agree. And like I said, we have many backup plans as well. Sassy, I don't know if I caught yours before, but thank you so much for the gifted Mob Crew membership. Kiki says, FYI, home next door is up for sale as of today. Anyone? Yeah, I've heard some rumors about that. I don't know if that's true or not. I think it is, but I think if anybody would know Hindsight BMW, they're pretty good at looking up that kind of stuff. So if they're in here, they may be able to answer that. But thank you, Kiki. So moving on. So this car actually does. Did I back it up? Okay. Yes, this is what I wanted right here. So after that car vehicle leaves the school at 3:49, 2 minutes later, this vehicle, and what's interesting about this vehicle, and the reason why I originally thought this was at the school, is it does this kind of like U-turn. Yeah, I mean, you can actually see like two headlights right here. And it kind of does this like, yeah, U-turn. There it goes. And I told you if it blocks that light, that means it is on the cemetery side and not on the school side. Whereas the vehicle at 3:47 and 3:49, when it's driving by, it does not block this one light, meaning it is further out. But originally I thought that car was a little bit more closer to the church. But if you look, you see these three lights. These are, so notice the North Star and these lights here. That's the part of the stadium. As we zoom out, let me close that out there. That is the stadium part here. The North Star is about in here, and those lights that we see are here. But the three lights that we see are actually coming from the bleacher where it's been taken down. Right here. There are like three lights where those bleachers were at. And so the stadium is kind of like here, if that makes sense. In this dark area here. And then that's those big lights on the left side. And that's the bleacher lights. So if we know that, then we know that the vehicle that we're seeing doing a 360, a U-turn, is actually, it's like they're doing a U-turn right by where the Columbarium is at, which is very interesting. I think I know what you're talking about, Arson. And again, I'm looking into that. I don't know if you heard me earlier. I know what you're talking about. Again, it may just be the wind blowing these lights. I know exactly what you're talking about. And believe me, it's something that's on my list, but it's kind of lower down because, again, I've seen hundreds of hours of footage of this around this area. And I see that activity go on a lot. So I don't know if it's something or not. But yes, you're right. There is some weird light movement, but is it connected? I don't know. Okay, so back to 351. That car does kind of a U-turn at the fork, I guess you would call it, and then heads up. And then at 353, we see it again as it's driving up the road. And then guess what? 2 minutes after we see the vehicle pass into the church parking lot at 353, you guessed it, 2 minutes later at 355 to 357 is now when we see this light kick on for 2 minutes. The same light that was seen on the 25th when the Columbrium lit up. Now, is that just some strange coincidence? I believe not. And once again, I have looked at hours of footage, days after, hours of footage before on those same days, nothing. And one of these lives, I'll kind of do like a time lapse showing you guys some of the days before or hours before and show you guys there's nothing. And that's one of the things I always look. If I find something, I always try to look at another day or a previous hour to see, okay, is this something that does occur or is this an anomaly? Then you add in this. So from 355 to 357, that lights up. Now, if you recall, that vehicle at the church, we just last saw it at 353. But we know that it's going to be exiting the church at about 355. Well, about 4 minutes later, 2 minutes after this fades out, 2 minutes, and guess what we see? That vehicle heading west, leaving the cemetery. I think it's Morse code. Well, Morse code you would need. Now, again, I don't. Any idea is not a bad idea. Morse code, and trust me, I do not think that's not implausible at all. I do think it's some kind of signal. That's one of my theories when I first saw that. Is it some kind of signal to somebody? Now, Morse code, you would think it would be flashing, right? But I do think you could be on the right track as far as it being some kind of signal. For sure.
These puzzle pieces all fit together. First, we have to look at where the suspicious vehicles were seen on the 25th. Just after the memorial is lit up for 6 mins, we see a vehicle leave heading south at 3:32 a.m. It's possible this vehicle was the one to use its high beams to illuminate the gravesite as it was positioned east in the middle of the loop here, and in the process accidentally illuminate the memorial, perhaps using its lights to illuminate an area to prepare a hole or a grave. Then this vehicle leaves.
And then I'm going to show you guys what we discovered on the helicopter footage on day 2, which is also disturbing.
Then a vehicle parks in the same area, but this time backs up into the gravesite, perhaps to haul some dirt or something else nefarious. Then when pulling forward to turn south, we see 2 headlights. Unlike the other lights we see, it's clear there is 2 balls of light, meaning this vehicle is likely facing west, in an area it shouldn't be unless it was backed in. This vehicle then goes south around the loop.
Yes, a driver on signal. Yeah, certainly. I do think it's definitely possible that could have been a signal. Now, the other thing I think it could be is almost like the Columbrium, where it's a reflection
As you can
of
clearly
something.
see, there was
Maybe it's a gravestone, right? Maybe it's a big gravestone, headstone. Sorry, gravestone, a headstone, and it's a vehicle that's lighting it up. You know, we just can't see the vehicle light, just kind of like the Columbrium, and it's lit up for a bit, and then they move. Again, just one of many theories, but and so let me play this. I need to use the restroom. Give me just a second. And then I'm going to show you guys the helicopter footage. And there's some disturbing things that we notice on the helicopter footage that we're going to examine. And then we'll finish up here. And I'll try to get to a few questions as well. So I'm just going to put this full screen for just a second so you can use the restroom. Don't go anywhere. Trust me, you're going to want to see kind of what we've discovered with the helicopter footage.
Then a vehicle parks in the same area, but this time backs up into the gravesite, perhaps to haul some dirt or something else nefarious. Then when pulling forward to turn south, we see two headlights. Unlike the other lights we see, it's clear there is two balls of light, meaning this vehicle is likely facing west, in an area it shouldn't be unless it was backed in. This vehicle then goes south around the loop. As you can clearly see, there was at least two different vehicles on the 25th shown here, with the different headlight heights. Also, you can see that 4 minutes later, another vehicle, likely a truck, was seen moving south. But what's interesting is the way the light gets distorted upwards. Here, take a closer look. Notice how the headlight ramps up behind the tree, as if it was getting elevated. We believe it's possible that when exiting west out of the gravesite, it hit this bank next to the private drive seen here in this photo. Whatever caused this light to distort like this was caused by something extreme.
Okay.
The other major thing to note is there is no sign of any vehicles entering or exiting the cemetery or church on the 25th. There are only two entrances, the main one off Long Hollow Pike, and the only other one is off Ward Lane to the north, but it is fenced in and has a gate with a lock. It appears these vehicles likely entered off Ward Lane, or somewhere off-road, like between school and cemetery. This also adds to the mounting evidence of nefarious activities.
Yeah, and so far, I have been, every time I get a little bit of extra time, I really look at, because remember, we have two cameras that kind of look at the church entrance, and there's nothing, right? Except for the one car that leaves on the 26th. And that's it. So again, why are these vehicles entering through Ward Lane? Just to add on to the mounting evidence of nefarious activity. Brenda, thank you so much for the PayPal. She was curious about the eyeglasses that were found. Now, from what I understand, and maybe Hindsight could answer this as well. Sorry to keep putting you on the hot seat there, Hindsight. From what I understand, now correct me if I'm wrong, Seth basically confirmed that they were not Sebastian's eyeglasses. The frames were not the same kind that Sebastian had, from what I understand. Please correct me if I'm wrong. Again, I'm not perfect and I make many, many mistakes. But if I have that correct, please let me know. But thank you, Brenda, again. That is a great question if that wasn't confirmed. But I think it was confirmed that they were not his. Geneva, a huge supporter of mine, says, "You are such a great stand up guy. God bless you." Thank you so much, Geneva, for this years and years of amazing support. God bless you. Jennifer, that is such a great question. That is certainly possible. Oh, we didn't know for sure. Okay, so I stand corrected. Okay, so there you go. Thank you, Joni. I appreciate that. So I stand corrected. I thought, okay. I thought he said the frames were different. Again, it's stuff we need, usually I'm covering a bunch of different cases and they start to kind of blend together. So, interesting. Do we know where they were found? I forget. Can someone let me know in chat where those were found? That would be interesting. Yes, we will address fish sticks here at the very end. Believe me, that will be at the very end, which will be coming up here very shortly. So one last thing I just want to address before we get to fish sticks is the helicopter footage. And thanks to the special person, they know who they are for pointing this out. Now, again, this is really rough because, again, the footage is not the best quality. Actually, I think there is some better quality footage out there, and I just need to go download it. But apparently, and I'll take a screenshot here. Here is the cemetery here. Now remember, this is day 2, so this is the 27th. So this is, the 26th would be day 1, the 27th would be day 2. And in it, it's not this one. There's one more, I think that's got a little bit more better quality to it here in just a second here. Yeah, I would love to know if there's like a headstone over here that's like tall and maybe rectangular that could have been reflected via some source. Now, as you can see, it's tough to tell, right? But you can see some of the plot where there's some kind of where the ground is either it's dirt or it's just ground that the grass is not growing as well. But there's something else that's really interesting. And I'm going to show that here in just a minute. So again, there's that secret driveway to a path that they probably came in from. I don't know if it's from this view. I think it's the other one here. It's coming up here in just a second. And there's the church. That's where the vehicle from the school was seen about. That's where the vehicle at 351 and 353 was driving up. And this one here might be this one right here that's coming up. Yes, it is. Someone pointed out. Now, I can't say 100% when we get closer here. See, sometimes you can get it where it's the frames per second catch up and it's got the better quality, but as you can see, there's that columbrium right here. And someone noticed, now it could be just a visual glitch. I don't know if glitch is the right word. Some kind of visual anomaly. But you're going to notice there's a brown spot. Now, of course, it is still a dirt road, but notice how it's pretty consistent in its color, right? But notice, and again, maybe there's something else that we don't know that was there in front of it. Someone said it looks like there's almost like dirt right in front of the columbrium. I'll see if I can take a screenshot here. Give me 1 second, guys. And there was a couple other things as well that around this, because this is where we're kind of focused on. But let me see if it can get a little closer. Probably about the best I can do. Again, the quality's not the best. I'll have to go try to find a better one when I can. But you can see this weird, and again, I don't think the pathway is, brick or anything. But somebody said it looked like, there was some kind of dirt or something near it. Again, could be just some visual thing. But it is interesting. They did notice there was a few areas near where our interest is that kind of show funky colorations, if that makes sense. Siggy, thank you so much for the continued membership and support. God bless you. I appreciate the love and support. Okay, it is bricked. Okay, then that would explain what we're looking at. Okay. But there is a couple of anomalies in here, but I don't know if this is the right view for it. Let's see if I do have it. Yeah, I may need to try to re-download this from a different source that may have a better quality upload to it, where we can see the ground. Because I know there is, because I've seen some screenshots where it looks a little bit better. But I definitely think there could be some clues in this helicopter footage, for sure. So one last thing. Oops, I didn't mean to end that. One last thing before we finish up, and I'm going to try to answer some questions here. But yes, if you guys don't know, Fish Sticks has announced he's coming back on the 22nd. Now, my personal opinion, the fact that he mentioned he's coming back on the 22nd tells me he's probably either already here or he'll be here in a week. Guarantee it. In my opinion, it isn't going to be the 22nd. But, in my opinion, if you think about it, one, could this be to try to come and debunk stuff and create chaos, which is not going to surprise me? Two, the big one, if you think about it, they can't hire any other PI than fish sticks. If you really think about it, if these people were innocent, and think about what fish sticks did not accomplish, he did not accomplish jack shnikes. He did nothing except do what I call the 1-year anniversary con, which is one of the, again, the most disgusting, despicable things I've ever seen in true crime ever. That's the only thing he was that he did. He did not help Sebastian's case in any way. No progress, right? And I'm sure he got paid well. Well, we know he got paid well. But if you think about it, you know, if they're allegedly guilty, they can't bring in anybody else. You know what I mean? They can't start fresh and have a new PI come in. They can't have Jason Jensen or whoever is the first name I could think of. You can't have any other PI come in because now they're going to restart the timeline, ask questions, try to interview them, interview their friends, interview the family, right? They don't want that. They want to bring fish sticks in, come debunk, intimidate, allegedly, of course. And of course, keeping tabs and everything else. But again, when you break it down, they cannot afford to hire any other person than him. If you were behind Sebastian's disappearance, right? Let me know what you guys think, but you can't. I would think if you were innocent, you would want to get fresh eyes on this case, right? Wouldn't you guys? If you had a guy come in and make a bunch of nonsense and then literally force law enforcement on your 1-year anniversary con to claim that you see Sebastian when you knew all along it was the neighbor walking his dog, and then just go on Twitter, and that's about all he did was just rant on Twitter for 4 months, and stir up trouble. What did he accomplish? Here's the other thing. He had the same exact footage that I had. The same exact footage. And what did he do with it? Look at all the stuff that I'm finding. Imagine if I had that, a long time ago when he had it. He had all this stuff. Which also tells me, if you think about it, if he had this footage, he had to have seen some of this and noticed there was some weird things going on in the cemetery. And if he knows more than I think he does, then of course, and he's just there to, hide the truth, whatever, how you want to call it, then I forget what my point was because I just read something. But yeah. Big Dogs, thank you so much for coming a member and supporting this channel. God bless. And Siggy, thank you so much for your respect, love, and dedication. I really appreciate that. And again, I know people love Snarky Chris. I would be preferred to be known as the humble person, but I couldn't help myself to throw in a little bit of humor at the beginning and in the middle. But again, I am here to find answers, and I really think, in my opinion, they are freaking out. Allegedly following people. Fish Sticks is allegedly calling up people, pretending to be somebody else, allegedly, which doesn't surprise me because he did that before. And so I think, especially the locals need to keep their eyes out, right? Watch out for anything suspicious. And the last thing I want to mention about the cemetery and school is we have a lot of eyes on the cemetery right now. I'm not explaining how, who, where, what, when, but we have a lot of eyes on the cemetery. So I would just say, for anybody that's, wanting to try to help, or if anybody's trying to dig up anything, I would highly suggest not doing that. Again, we want to try to let law enforcement, hopefully take over, do the right thing. If that doesn't happen, then we've got a whole bunch of other backup plans. But again, we are trying to do it in the right steps. But again, there's no proper playbook to all this. It is, trying to do the best we can, and that's all we can do. I think so, Brenda. I think that's one of the many things that they're trying to do, in my opinion. I believe so too, Zach. I believe this year it's going to happen. There's just way too much weird stuff going on, and then the fact that they're bringing out, and then the other reason, some people might not even think about the other reason they may be bringing him out is, think about the second anniversary is just coming up around the corner. So I think, when they go to do their second year anniversary, right? They're going to want to be able to go, look, we got our PI working on it, So that's another thing I think they're going to do, is bring him in, probably pay him for 2 months or whatever, and have him, of course, do his nonsense again. He'll be all over Twitter. I can already see it. And then the 2-year anniversary, and then they're going to go do their 2-year anniversary interview. And of course, we'll see them mention, yep, brought in our PI, and he's out searching, right? But, yeah. Anyway, I agree, Kitty. I smell something fishy. Thank you, Bat Girl. I appreciate that. And again, to those board members that may be watching, pull your head out of your ass and do the right thing. Because the board members, to me, if you guys haven't responded by now, I think you guys are in the wrong business. There's a child missing, and you got a shit ton of nefarious activity going on at your church and cemetery, and you guys are sitting around twiddling your thumbs. Now, of course, I am directing this to the board members, not the church, not the secretary, not the pastor. They've been very sweet and nice, but seems like the board members, I don't know. Makes me wonder if there's any kind of connections, I hate to look at it that way, but very fishy. Seth, I know someone's spoken to Seth very recently, debutante, so he is aware of stuff going on. I think this is a lot for him, right? You know, you just had another holiday without your son. And then on top of that, you know, the stuff that I've found, and then there's other leads. Again, this is the best thing is there's two major big leads that are going on at the same time, and I'm only covering one. There's a whole other, you know, looking at all scenarios, and there's a whole other big juicy lead out there that there's good people looking into. So, you know, yeah, if I were the stink feet or the people responsible, yeah, I'd be worried. And again, like I said, I heard through the grapevine. Let me pull it up before we finish up here. Where is it? Oh, there it is. Yeah, I heard. Pretty sure he was out there getting the ninjamas out. You know, they're gonna need them. So anyway, much love to you guys, mods. Thank you guys, ladies, so much for what you guys do. You guys are amazing. And I'm trying to look at chat. Again, I can't answer every question, and I apologize. It's so hard when you have nearly 8,000 people in the chat. But thank you so much for the donations, the love and support. Today's Monday. I'll probably be back Wednesday. And then one more thing. I know I've got the new pets in, but if you saw my message yesterday, you know, because I was going to do a live yesterday, because I've got all this footage and putting all these videos together, and it's, you know, it's a lot of memory, and so I've got a lot of portable hard drives set up. And anyway, I was trying to clean off my computer yesterday, and anyway, I kind of bricked my computer yesterday, and it took a while to kind of get everything fixed. So anyway, long story short, new pet outro. I promise the next time I have a live, we will have a new pet outro. I'm gonna just play the one we have for now, but I do have the new pets. These are for the members and or Patreons. But yes. So be patient with me, and always when I find something new, obviously that takes precedent over everything else, you know, as far as when it comes to Sebastian leads. So but I will have those out this week, I promise. And with that, I'm gonna play the outro, and that's right, say his name. Oops, if I can get it. And we'll see you guys Wednesday, unless there's some kind of update or something. But God bless you guys. Thank you so much for the love and support. And thank you guys. You guys have been really respectful in the chat. I really appreciate it. And we'll see you guys very soon. God bless you guys.
Stay away, you were never meant to save me. I lied for you, I tried for you. You wouldn't play alone. I got you in my sight. I keep all the words you said to me. I get you, get you, get you, get you on your knees. Rewrite all the things you said that I should be. I'll get you, get you, get you. Now you beg me, please. Hey. Now I stay away. You were never meant to save me. Now I stay away. I wanna hear you say you're sorry.